I'm going to begin, Lily, by asking, of course, this role was written for you. It must be really touching for that to happen, but at the same time, does that add a bit of pressure, not only on saying yes, but also on kind of doing the role justice?
Yes, of course, because I mean, it's really daunting to be handed a script and say, I wrote this with you in mind. And first of all, you're terribly worried that you're not going to like it, and you'll have to tell Paul that. And then once you've read it and you think it's a great part and a great vehicle, you want it to be good and you want to fulfill his vision for it. So you're right, it's a tough row to hoe.
I'm assuming it was a no-brainer though when you did read the screenplay.
It was. I loved it. I was mad for the script, and even more so when I saw who he cast, how he had it in mind, and every person that came in, I was more excited. I thought each one just seemed so perfect, and they sort of turned out to be perfect. So that only made the whole picture better. It was so. But once you throw yourself in, I mean, you're in, and you're just, hoping that you're going to be, that the esprit de corps is going to really just barrel it home in some way. And we're filled with surprises because each actor is inventive, and they do physical things that delineate the character or give more essence to the story in some way. I mean, Marcia Gay was just great. When I walk in on her and she's on that treadmill desk and she's in a fury anyway, when she tells us that that her daughter, my granddaughter, is pregnant. She's, we're a little trepidatious about telling her because I've been afraid of her since she was 5 years old, and her daughter is afraid of her because she's so alpha and she's so successful and she's just expects everybody to pull their weight and be absolutely as dynamic as she is. And she says, "You're not pregnant, are you?" I mean, she just gets it out of the box, and she throws her. She's just furious. She takes off her shoes and throws her shoes at her secretary, and she's just good.
I might have to get one of those treadmills, actually.
I know. I thought of getting one myself. I thought surely that'll make me more successful here in the executive world.
So how similar are you to the role? Or really, sort of, how do you differ? What would you say the biggest difference is between you?
Between me and Elle?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm not broke. And I'm not academic, so I haven't had to just scrounge for a living as a lot of artists do, and certainly poets do. And I don't have a granddaughter. I don't have a daughter. Although I would like both. I think it would be fun to have a granddaughter that's grown that someone else raised.
But she's a sort of brilliant, if sort of subversive role model to her granddaughter. I mean, did you ever have anyone quite like that in your life at that sort of age? Someone who was...
Well, I had women who, my mother, my aunt. My mother was a much more conventional mother, but she had a little twinkle to her and a little subversive thread running through her. She didn't act out on it so much, she was a working class woman, and she had to work all her life until I became well known, and then I was able to afford her the luxury of not having to work. And her sister, my Aunt Pearl, who died a long time before my mom did because she was about 20 years older, she was a very independent woman. She had a husband who was abusive, and she had 3 children, 3 really fabulous, handsome, beautiful children, 2 boys and a girl. And she lived in the old apartment house where I grew up because she had left her husband. At that time, very few women divorced their husbands, especially if they were abusive.
I'm wondering as well, though, in regards to roles like this, I mean, we don't see enough full-bodied, well-crafted roles for women, full stop, but we certainly don't see them for more experienced actresses. I mean, when you read this, did it feel like something quite unique to have a role of this nature?
Yeah, it did. I mean, I'd never really done I guess I've done sort of an independent film, I mean, I've done a low budget, but I never identified it as independent or kind of, you know, around the fringes of the movie industry. So I guess I thought it was, I knew it was significant. I didn't, you just hope that it's going to be a well-wrought, well-acted, impactful vehicle. And so I wasn't ready for the kind of exaltation that a lot of people received it. So that's been nice.
So I mean, just sort of finally, I mean, do you feel that in spite of your kind of experience in the industry, that you are always still sort of learning in this? I mean, because obviously you've got the TV series as well, Grace and Frankie. I mean, is that one of the perks of this job, that it's one that it's always different and always kind of progressing in some regards? Does it always feel like it's always fresh?
If you're really working and thinking about the world, and you get better as you perform, and I think it can be an exciting life to be an actor. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
And the kinds of projects that come to you eventually, or that come to you as a big surprise, or that you stumble on, or that you invent to do. Yeah, I think it's, and if you're a thoughtful actor, you're thinking, and I think most actors are, you're trying to come up to something in the culture, something to reflect the culture, and what you think could be made better by performance and art and people going to entertainment and feeling or experiencing something that maybe they haven't had the opportunity to experience.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.